Good morning. My name's Larry Honda, and I'm your emergency chairperson for today. Thank you for your patience. We're starting late because we're having technical difficulties. So Moss was originally going to chair this service, but he's going to help Steve with the technical aspects for today. So excuse me if I'm a little discombobulated, more than normal. Okay, so welcome to our service today. Just a reminder, of course, as you all well know, no food or drinks, and please turn off or silence your cell phones. Is anybody here for the first time to our temple? No? Okay, great. Well, if you are, thank you for coming. And of course, welcome to those of you viewing us electronically. So we'll begin today's service with sutra chanting Juseige. So that's on page 23 in the small Dharma School service book and page 93 in the large service book.
Ishi
Okay, would you all please rise for the Gatha, I'm a Link in the Golden Chain, which is the third song in the yellow Gatha handbook.
I'm a link in the golden chain. Harmony may we all attain. Gentle to all living things will unite us all as golden rings. I'm a link in the golden chain. Gratitude may we all attain. Bright and strong, my link will grow through pure and loving deeds I know. Pure and beautiful thoughts I will think, and pure and beautiful words I will say, and pure and beautiful deeds I will do for the world and for you. Spreading kindness and love every day to all living things that come our way. Amida's chain of love is bright. Through peace and love we will see the light. Okay, please join in the reading of the Three Treasures, which is on page 3 of this book. And again, in the leader and Sangha in unison part, the third verse, instead of in the spirit of universal brotherhood, we replace that with in a spirit of universal oneness. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha.
Okay, now we'll have a Dharma talk by Minister's Assistant Dennis Akizuki.
Good morning. Hold on. I'm forgetting to do things. Please join me in Gassho. We're sending it in Nembutsu. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Again, good morning. Welcome to everyone here in the Hondo and those joining us at home. You're probably wondering, where is everybody? Why is it just me and Sumi? Well, the ministers are actually all speaking in other places this morning, so you're kind of left with me. Rinban Sakamoto says, will you lead service on August 4th? I said, well, if I don't do Sambujo, I can do it. Because Sambujo is a little bit too difficult, and I'd have to practice and practice and practice, and I haven't done any of that. So hopefully you will forgive us for not doing Sambujo, but it made it less stressful for me, certainly. If you were around and to the rummage sale for the Adult Buddhist Association happens the first Saturday in August, and it happened yesterday. I was there helping out, and it's quite a production. The gym was just full of things, people running clothes and cookware and Japanese teapots and cups and dishes and all kinds of things. And it's a fundraiser, and the money, I think, is going to go to the Dharma Center project. So it's very interesting to see. You see people coming out to help every year who you don't see any other time except for the rummage sale, right, Emmy? But we appreciate them. It's kind of a wonderful thing to see them all come out, and it's a well-oiled machine. People know what to do, or at least people know, this is the second year, so now I know who to ask, where does this go? And so it was very cool to help out. There's a flyer in the back. I don't know if some of you saw it. Can we have we have the first slide. It's for something called a Techno Hoyo that is coming to the Betsuin on September 17th and 18th. Now, this is going to be a rare chance to see a new way of sharing the Dharma developed by a former DJ who is now the 17th generation head of a Jodo Shinshu temple in Fukui City, Japan. Second slide, please. You're probably wondering, what is a Techno Hoyo? So techno, according to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, is, quote, electronic dance music that features a fast beat and synthesized sounds, usually without vocals or a conventional popular sound structure. It's kind of like dance music. It has kind of a 4/4 beat, generally speaking, right? Kind of a driving kind of beat. So third slide, please. Oh, are we in sync here?
I think they are now.
Okay. Hoyo. Hoyo is a term in Shin Buddhism that means Dharma essence, basic Dharma, the essence of Shin Buddhist teachings. I was asking Mikami-sensei about this yesterday, and she said it refers to kind of like a Buddhist service. So somebody may be familiar with there's something called Shotsuki Hoyo, which is kind of like a monthly memorial service for people that passed away in that month. We don't do it here, but some other temples do that. Fourth slide, please. So the Techno Hoyo was developed by Reverend Asakura Gyosen, head priest at Shoonji Temple in, again, Fukui City, which is located kind of northeast, I believe, of Kyoto. So Asakura Sensei comes from a family who's been at the temple. They founded the temple 500 years ago. So he was expected to take over the temple, but he also had a lifelong passion for music. So right after high school, he became a DJ in Kyoto. And he did that 5 or 6 years. When he turned 24, he went back to Fukui City, went back to Shoonji, and he took over the temple. But what he noticed was that, as that membership was declining, especially troubling to him was young people weren't coming to the temple. This is according to what he was telling a reporter from Japan News. So does this sound familiar? This is kind of like a problem, I think. Not only Buddhist temples, but all kinds of churches and religious gatherings have a problem with, right? Declining attendance, especially among young people. So with support from his family, he decided to try something different. He just tried to merge his two passions, music and Jodo Shinshu. And he told the Japan News, quote, I have long thought the rhythm of reading the sutras can be matched with techno music. Well, he might have been the only person who thought that. But it's good for him, and I think so. So in 2016, he did this first Techno Hoyo. It features like pulsating techno beat. He chants a sutra, and there's lights and images of Buddha and other things that are flashed on the Onijin. He told a TV station, WTHR, which did a story about him before the 2021 Olympic Games in Tokyo, that, quote, "The main teaching of Buddhism is nothing will remain, everything will change." So we're familiar with that, right? So he reasoned that the traditional music in a service could change, suiting the music to a modern generation. That's according to him. He also, there's an article about him in the BBC that did, and he told the BBC that the sutras talk about the Pure Land as an amazing place filled with beautiful lights. So, you know, back 800 years ago, they didn't have any electricity. So what they did was they had gold leaf and they had candles, and the light of the candles kind of reflected off of the gold leaf. And that was intended to create a feeling of the Pure Land, right? So he said he wanted to recreate this atmosphere with electronic lights. So we're going to see the next slide. Hopefully this works. It's a short 5-minute sample of what a technohoyo is. So that's what a technohoyo looks like. So Asakura Sensei and the technohoyo have received a fair amount of publicity, not just in Japan, but internationally. I mentioned BBC. There's a YouTube story about the technohoyo that has been viewed almost 1 million times. And a video of a technohoyo with the chanting of Amida Kyo has received more than 360,000 views. That one, if you can make out what they were chanting, I think it was Sambutsuge, right? So, but as you might expect in some tradition-bound places, Japan, not all the reaction is positive. And he told the BBC, quote, "I received a lot of reactions from the public, both positive and negative. People who support the service think it makes them feel closer to the Buddhist Pure Land. Those who are against it say that Buddhist services have to be serious and quiet." So what's your reaction here? I mean, you saw kind of like a video, but we haven't experienced it in person. What do you think about the concept? Do Buddhist services have to be serious and quiet, or can they be something different? What do you think? Any comments? Any thoughts on that? Did you like that or not like that, or? It was interesting. What was interesting about it? It was different. Yeah. Any other comments? Yes. Yeah, I think, I don't get the idea. He doesn't do this all the time. I think he does this like maybe twice a year. So it's not a regular thing, although he does go other places. I guess I just read this morning that he went to Burning Man and did this. So if you can imagine like a Shin Buddhist service at Burning Man, that's kind of different, right? But why not? Well, his tour, he's a tour of the United States, not a long tour, but actually it's co-sponsored by the Buddhist Churches of America, one of them. So he's going to go to New York City, then to LA, and then the only services in Northern California are going to be here. So it's basically kind of endorsed by BCA. We'll see how that goes. So those maybe who didn't hear all the comments at home, I think we've heard kind of like the breadth of opinions, and as Asakura Sensei kind of said himself, people do think that maybe it's over the top. It's not doesn't give you the peace of mind maybe, and concentrating on the Buddhist teachings. Other people find it interesting. Other people like the lights, and so I think it's something I think we should see and see how it is. I think I think there are different. No, he's coming live. He's coming with all of his equipment, and it's going to be. Hopefully, we'll draw the shades, and a couple of them are at night, so you'll see the full effect of it. So he's coming with somebody else, an assistant, and I would guess it's going to be probably sometime take a while to set up all the equipment here. But yeah, no, it's live. He's coming in person to do this. I'm sorry? September 17th and 18th. We'll flash it on the screen in a little bit. So I think trying things is good, is okay, and we ought to encourage trying different things, because, as we see, doing the same things for decades has gotten to this point where we do have declining membership, and we don't have a lot of young people. So I think it's not just doing different services. I think it's providing activities that interest people, getting people to come to the temple, and once they come to the temple, maybe they want to, hopefully some of them, at least some of them, wanted to learn more about the Dharma, right? So you got activities like pickleball and book club and Sangha support and people doing crafts and eco-Sangha. So I think all these activities kind of build up the Sangha, and a strong Sangha is going to be something that's going to lead us into the future, I think. We have to be kind of just, this is just my feeling, not the views, representing the views of anybody else of BCA, certainly, or not the leadership here at the temple, but I think, let's not be afraid to try different things, programs, activities, maybe even just see how changing the services would look like or feel like. But I think the point is, I think the essential message has to remain the same, right? We accept you as you are. We accept everyone as they are. We live a life of gratitude and compassion and show our gratitude by reciting the Debutsu. So the next slide. So as mentioned, this is the flyer back there. We're going to have 3 services here at the Betsuin next month. Please spread the word to your family and friends. This will be the only Techno Hoyo services in Northern California. And final slide. Next slide. So the Techno Hoyo here is scheduled for 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. on September 17th and 7 p.m. on September 18th. Again, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. on September 17th and 7 p.m. on September 18th. I hope to see you at one of these services, and then we can talk about what you think about it. And when you see it in person, I think just generating some discussion about this is a good thing, and just we can go from there. So thank you very much. Please join me in Gassho and reciting in Nembutsu. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha. Namo Amitabha.
Thank you, Dennis, for a totally different Dharma talk than what you're probably used to. I'd like to apologize for those of you watching trying to watch the video. If you haven't figured out, the image, so normally the image you see on our monitor in the temple here is also showing up on the monitor behind the scenes, Wizard of Oz like. And today that's not happening. So as you saw, Moss was trying to get Steve to get the cursor in the right place to play, and he couldn't get to the place to enlarge the screen, so that's why it was so small. So if you want to see a different, a better version of what you saw in here, you can just go online. So again, if you just Google Techno Hoyo on the YouTube channel, you'll be able to see at least one, or there's probably several different versions or different performances that Asakura Sensei has done. And as Dennis mentioned, we will be having apparently 3 showings. We were supposed to only do Tuesday the 17th, and this Wednesday was supposed to be at the Jodo Shinshu Center, but apparently that's fallen through. So now we get a 3rd one on Wednesday. Logistics are still being worked out. So we want this to be open to everybody, not just members of our temple, but members of the public. But it has to be done in the Hondo, and we have to have it completely dark. So we're trying to figure out how to, for the 3 o'clock show especially, how do we get it, how do we block out the lights through the window? So that we're brainstorming on that right now. If you have any ideas, come see me. Since I know nothing, Deborah also is actually working on that right now, but I think we can use some help. And we'll see how this goes. But again, as Dennis mentioned, he's coming to the United States on tour. He's working with a couple different people. I forget, I think Dennis and I and a couple others, we were on a Zoom call with them. And the techno guy who's going to be assisting is actually the president of the New York temple. the Buddhist temple in New York. So he's actually the tech guy who's going to help set things up. Forgot his name, unfortunately. Brady? I know it's David. I wasn't sure if it was Brady or Brody, but yeah. So David's going to help us. Let's do it that way. Okay. So anyway, one of the things we're trying to figure out is how do we need to do signups, or do we just let people first come first serve, or that kind of thing? So we haven't figured that out yet. So we'll make those announcements obviously in the coming weeks. Okay. But again, this is the Tuesday and Wednesday, third week of September. And I think that's the 17th and 18th. Okay? So again, thank you, Dennis, for that. Okay, now we'll have Gatha Ondokusan II, which is on page 76 of the small Dharma service book.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you to our organist, Elaine Jones, our tech people today, Steve Onishi, Mas Nishimura, and our minister assistants, Sumi Tanabe and Dennis Akizuki, who, this was your first one, right, to be the boss? So thank you very much. I think you did a great job, right? Don't get applause in here very often. Are there any announcements from anyone?
Just as a reminder, this coming Friday, August 19th, is your last chance to support the 47th FBWA conference that we're holding here in San Jose in October. The special code that you need is 923254, Panda Express. And if you forget the code, you can always go to the Betsuin website, or you can also go to the fbwaconference.org website, and there's a link there. So if you have any questions, I'll also be in the garden afterwards. So thank you very much for supporting it. But again, this is our last one, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Phyllis. On behalf, so Gwen also, who was in charge of our Lahaina, actually she's been in charge of all the Lahaina plate fundraisers. She'd like to thank all of you who purchased the lunches last week. I think we sold 260 of them on very short notice. And she would especially like to thank those of you who helped. So she gets her own crew to help out. For those of you who missed me last week, you didn't miss me, but I was back there helping Gwen cook. So forgot what I was cooking, but I was cooking the Kahlua pork. So if that turned out bad, that was me. So okay, and then I think that's it for announcements. So we'll close with closing Gassho, and then after that, please come forward for Oshoko.
Okay, please join me, Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
dishes.
Yeah.